My name's Jonathan Hicks and today we're doing multiplication. Well, actually this is the traditional multiplication video. It turns out there are loads of ways to multiply two numbers together. If you look at the multiplication overview video, it lists the different kinds, as you can see some of the differences between them. But in this video we're just doing traditional multiplication. Now this is the kind that I was taught when I was at school, and in many ways I think it's a very effective method. So we'll dive right in, have a look at a couple of numbers. Let's do 14 times 32. Now you lay it out like this. It's quite similar to adding and subtracting at the start, but because you're multiplying by a two-digit number here, you need to leave two spaces, and then your final answer will go in this space at the bottom. Effectively what's going to happen is you're going to split it into 2 times 14 and then 3 times 14. That's what these two lines are for here, and then we'll add it up at the end. So 2 times 14, 2 times 4 gives you 8, that goes in there. 2 times 1 gives you 2, that goes in there. So 2 times 14 gives you 28. Seems fine so far. Now we're going to do 3 times 14. Except that you have to put a 0 in here. Yes, I know. We'll come back to that later. So 3 times 4 gives you 12, which should go in here, but you can't be trying to fit 12 into that space there. Only one digit per space. So if it's 12, you're going to have to put the 2 there and carry the 1. Now I tend to carry the 1 down here. So 3 times 4 gives you 12, and you carry the 1. Goes into the next column. Then we do 3 times the 1, plus the 1 you carried. You must remember to add that. So 3 ones are 3, plus 1 gives you 4. So we get 420. Now we add them up. Exactly the same way you would for normal addition, in columns from the right. So 8 plus nothing gives you 8, 2 plus 2 is 4, and nothing plus 4 gives you 4. So the answer is 448. Great! Now you're probably wondering about this 0 though, aren't you? What is going on there? Well, the thing is, that is not a 3. I know it looks like a 3, but really it's a 30. Yeah, this is 32. So when we were doing 3 times 14, what we are actually doing is 30 times 14. Now 3 times 14 gives you 42, but 30 is 10 times bigger than 3. That means our answer should be 10 times bigger. And the way you make something 10 times bigger, you stick a 0 on the end. So 3 times 14 is 42, but 30, which is what we've really got, times 14, will be 420. So that's what's going on with that 0. If you had another digit here in the hundreds column, then you would need to add more zeros and it gets a bit more complicated. In fact, let's have a look at an example of that now. So we'll try something like 36 times 247. Now we've got some hundreds, you'll see what happens with the extra zeros. So because we're multiplying by a 3-digit number, we're going to need 3 spaces here. 1, 2, 3, and then our final answer will appear at the bottom. So first of all, it's going to be 7 times 36, then we're going to do 4 times 36, and then 2 times 36 in these 3 spaces. So 7 times 36, well 7 6s are 42. Again, you can't fit the 42 in there, you've got to carry the 4. So I like to carry it just under the next column, like that. So 6 times 7 is 42. Now we're going to do 7 times the 3. 7 3s are 21. And then you must add the 1 that you carried. So 21 plus 4 gives you 25. Carry the 2. And then 7 times, oh, we've run out there, there's nothing else to do. But we've still got this 2 that we carried from before, so we're going to write the 2 in there. Although, actually, we knew there was not going to be anything there, yeah? So we didn't really need to carry the 2, yeah? When we did 3 7s to give us 21 plus the 4 and give us 25, we could have just written the 2 in there. So I'm going to do that. We'll get rid of that, and we'll put the 2 there. Now, we're going to do the 4 times the 36. Yeah, except remember, it's not a 4, it's a 40. Just like this wasn't a 3, it's a 30, so we put the 0 in. Because this is 40, you need to put 1 0 there. That will make our answer 10 times bigger. 4 times 6 then gives you 24. Carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Remember to add the ones that you carried. So 12 plus the 2 gives you 14. And because I've got nothing else here, I don't really need to carry the 1. Again, I can just write it in the next column like that. So 40 times 36 will be 1,440. Now we come on to the 2, except it's not a 2, it's a 200. 247. So our answer needs to be 100 times bigger than 2 times 36. And the way you make something 100 times bigger is you add 2 zeros. Now we can do the multiplication. 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1 you carried gives you 7. So again, 2 times 36 will give you 72, but this is actually 200. You've got to make it 100 times bigger, so you add 2 zeros on the end. Now we've got our 3 numbers. You add them all up in columns. So 2 plus nothing is 2. 5 plus 4 gives you 9. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus another 2 is 8. And 1 plus 7 gives you 8. So the final answer there is 8,892. So just to reiterate, we've done 7 times 36, because that's in the units column. You just work it out, that's 252. And then 40 times 36, we have to add the 1 0, because it's really a 40. And then 200 times the 36 to give us this, and we're adding 2 zeros because it's in the hundreds column, it's 100 times bigger. So for every extra column you go along, you need to add an extra 0 there. Now, this method is very efficient. You can do it very quickly when you know what you're doing, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. So those are the things it has going for it. But I have to say, it can be quite complicated if you've never done multiplication before. If this is your first time you're learning multiplication, I probably wouldn't recommend you learn this method to start with. There's just a lot going on there. So you have to remember to multiply the right numbers, and you have to remember to carry when you multiply, and then you have to put the random zeros in, and you have to get the right number of random zeros in, and then you have to add at the end. Remember to carry when you add, and oh my goodness, it can just overwhelm you because there's so much going on there. So if this is the first time you're learning multiplication, I'd actually recommend you try out the grid method. It's a much more intuitive method. I think it's easier to understand. But if you have learnt this before and more or less you know what you're doing, you just needed a quick refresher, then by all means go with this method. I think it has a lot going for it. Personally, if you asked me to multiply 2 numbers together, this is the method that I would use. The reason for that is because this is what I was taught at school, and they just made us do it over and over and over and over and over, and it's just stuck in my head now. So I don't think when I'm doing this, I just plough through all the operations and out pops the answer at the end. So if you can get over the initial, whoa, there's so much going on there, then it's a very effective method, okay? Go for it. It works really well if you know what you're doing. But as I say, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all of that, if it's a bit too complicated, try the grid method, because it's a lot easier to learn in the first place.